Hi everyone, welcome back to Beyond the Box. Today we've got someone who's been part of the 𝐶𝐸 family for years, 𝐂𝐚𝐦𝐞𝐫𝐨𝐧 𝐖𝐡𝐢𝐭𝐞𝐟𝐨𝐫𝐝. He's just 19 from Cape Town and he has done some pretty epic things, building robots with Team Luna all the way to the World Robot Olympiad Nationals in South Africa, leading as a Deputy Headboy in matric, and now he's literally diving into a whole new world. Yep. 𝐂𝐚𝐦𝐞𝐫𝐨𝐧 is a rescue diver in training to become a dive master. From robots to the ocean, his story is all about exploring hidden worlds. Okay, let's jump in. Cam, welcome to Beyond the Box. It's so nice to see you. It's been almost a year.
It's nice to be here. It really is.
Yeah. I understand you've been out and about. You've been traveling the world. Is that true?
Well, I've just been to Sodana Bay, but otherwise, yeah.
Okay, what are you doing at Sodana Bay?
Sodana Bay, I'm training to become a dive master, and then throughout my course now, I'm at my rescue divers now. So I just got certified recently, and I'm on my way to become a dive master in, I think, a couple months. So, yeah.
Wow, that's awesome. I thought you were going into engineering.
I initially was planning on doing that, but through this gap year I took, I was thinking I wanted to go into science, which I wanted to do, but it would have taken an extra year, and I've already stayed a year back in school. So my biggest thought was, what do I enjoy now? And then from a trip that my mom and I did when I was 16, I enjoyed diving. And then just through the experience of trying new things, I wanted to try diving. And then this was both an internship and a course that I was doing. And through doing that, I fell in love with it, and I want to do this.
That's amazing. It's not every day that people find what they love, because I was very convinced you're going to be an engineer.
No, I was too, but it was the cost and the time just to be there, because engineering takes like multiple years, and with the gap year I took plus a bridging course, yeah,
You did a bridging course.
I didn't get to a chance to do a bridging course, so it would have been an extra year plus. So I would have been starting when I was 21, and then only like being an engineer like in my mid-20s, and I want to start doing something now with my life.
Yeah, got you. But you know what's beautiful is you found what you love. I mean, which is pretty awesome. Yeah, so we're gonna get started. Let's take a step back a little bit. So Cam, let's look back a little bit. You have been part of our robotics for a few years now, and I remember it like yesterday. You and the students from Shilanti, back then when we were at MMM Music Academy. How did you get into robotics though?
So initially, my sister got into it, saying, "Mom, Dad, there's this robotics at my school," and then she wants to go further into it. And then when I heard it, I was like, "Wow, that's so cool!" And I think I was 16, so I was like very into the idea of making robots. And then I asked if I could join, and then that's how I got into Kids Innovate Africa. So yeah.
Okay, so you found it quite intriguing.
Yes, I did. I found it so cool, the concept that you make and build your own robots.
Yeah.
And then I got into it, and then I kept rolling.
Okay. But what hooked you? What hooked you about robotics?
The building.
The building. Why? Why the building?
It's very expressive in what you can do, because if there's a problem and then you need something to fix that problem, there's many ways to solve it. But with me, I didn't. If you look at the designs compared to like other teams for the rover missions we did, I would always approach a problem where I thought, like, I used to try to do it in the most creative way.
Yeah.
And then the fun part about that was that I wasn't thinking, let's do this the weird way. Let's do it not the more functional way, but like the more interesting way. Like, I would focus more on making it so that the robot would have interesting features and then discover new things, rather than just have a switch that goes like this. And then with me, like, that creative freedom was so riveting. So I loved it.
Wow, that's amazing. And literally, as you speak, in my mind, I'm thinking about your last robot design. Was it 2 years ago? I'm thinking when you guys went to the nationals, I'm literally remembering that lovely functional structure.
The arm, yeah.
Yes, the arm. And you also made use of the bands for your was it for gearing purposes, or?
I used it for I think we used it for both the gears and also for like making it structurally sound, because with Lego it's very restrictive because you just can place bricks on top of bricks. And then eventually we found these bands, and I was like, I have a very big inspiration from these like bridges that I see in the US, and they're like the London Gate Bridge, and I was like, why don't we make it so that we have these bands like hold up pieces of the thing together, because the motors were doing all the work, and I thought let's make it a little bit more lenient. So we added the bands, and then that's how we made it so that our arms were a lot more rigid at certain positions. So 80 degrees, it would be upright. At this, it would be more lenient, and then at one, it would restrict it from going any further.
Sure. And I noticed that came quite naturally to you. I mean, if I'm thinking back, you had one of the most multifunctional robots ever. Also considering that when you participate in this robotics competition, it's quite restrictive as to how many motors you can use. And the way you were so creative in using what you had to achieve optimal results was quite inspirational.
Yeah, like I noticed many of the other teams focused on just doing what was done, and then my thought was, instead of just focusing on what could be done, what can do more. So teams would focus on which analytically, like this does this, this does this, this does this. And then I thought, why don't we have one thing that can do all of that? And then that's where most of the creative freedom went into, because it would be centered around that one attachment. That's like one of the big things of our design. We would have one attachment that does it all. And the whole design would be centered around the mission itself. So we would make an arm, we would make a lift, we would make different designs, and we used to go through this for months and months.
Yeah, and I know you took your time with your robot design, and I remember your partner actually saying, "Oh, Cam, I need to start coding the robot." You took forever because you just paid attention to details. You cared about every angle of the robot, and I could see you every week in, week out. You make some adjustments.
Because there was always a mixture of it was like a back and forth game, like ping pong. You fix the code, I fix the robot. You fix the code, I fix the robot. But then there would always be new problems with the code, and then I would try to fix it with the robot, and then the robot would then do something wrong, and then we would have to adjust the code, and then that was the main problem. And then eventually we got to design, which I was quite proud of, and I think Ashley liked too, where we had the claw, which she designed, and then I put it all together in a multifunctional arm with the beams and bands that we used.
Sure, that was exceptional. Literally, I think we have few pictures of it. It needs to stay on our website, guys, just as something to remember. What is it about? Because I found with our neurodivergent students, they, at least the majority of those that I know, they enjoy building much more than they enjoy coding. Is there something about building you think?
I think it's the creative freedom that people get to enjoy. Like if somebody struggles like expressing their emotions due to the neurodivergence, if they're very shy, they would think they would be able to express more that they can in building than they can in code. Because in code, it's not something you can play with other than the way you code. It's the code says you need to do this and this for the robot to do that. So building is you can do whatever you want as long as it fits the function, and then there's so many different ways to build, but there's only so many ways to code.
Oh, got you. Absolutely. It's the flexibility involved in the design.
Yeah, it's about like, I feel like it's the freedom that people get from the building that makes it more fun. And then the coding is a lot more rigid because it needs to be right.
Yeah.
But there is different ways to be like creatively free. Like
with the code.
Yeah, there is ways. Like I would always put my code, because I would make long lines of code. I would put it into blocks so that we can just reuse it over and over. And then when you look at my code, it's you just say, like we will put into a block or you scratch, it would be like, why is there so many red blocks?
It was like so long.
Yeah, and then I always try to make it shorter, and then it was more complex, but at least it was simpler, because in my mind it was hard to express that. With the robot, you can see what I'm trying to express.
Absolutely, absolutely, I'm with you. Coming back to the nationals and robotics, how was that like? You guys made it to, like, not everybody gets to the nationals, right? I mean, obviously the goal is the global championships, but you guys made it to the nationals, and that's not like an everyday thing. So how was that like for you and your team?
So whenever it comes to a robo mission, one of the biggest problems you go through is losing. So when you spend 8 months on a robot working, or I think it was 6 months when we did that one, regionals, it was 4 months of redesigning, 2 months of like non-stop coding, and then eventually getting it done and working. And then the experience for me, it'll be different for everybody else, but for me and my team, we were there, and then the robot, it didn't do well in the first 2 rounds, but for some miracle, it finally did what it was told. And then in the third round, that euphoric feeling of seeing it doing everything it's supposed to do, is something you can't match. Like it's a different type of adrenaline. Seeing
Wow.
like the work you put in come out in actual like objective form, not like something you do and it slowly happens. It's what you do does what you do.
Yeah, the efforts that you've put in, you know, the instructions you've given it, it's executing it line by line of the code.
And then with that, going to nationals, thinking like on the plane, like we work to be here. The work we put in makes us deserve to be here. But at the exact same time, it feels so real. Like you don't actually think you're on a plane to go to nationals.
Yeah.
It's like, how am I here?
It's always like that, I think. Generally, you know, in corporate world, we call it an imposter syndrome. Like, you know, how do I deserve to be here? But as you say, all the hard work you've put in, you know, 6 months worth of work, you deserve to be there.
And then like on the plane, I was like, we worked on it for 2 months relentlessly, trying to do the best we can, using a gyro sensor, changing the code, making sure it worked even better. Like all of that, saying we put the work in and now it's time to show off. Like it was quite riveting. And then being at the airport, traveling, it was also very tiring.
And by the way, we have a video of Cam and the team at ORT airport, so we can pull it out anytime. So I actually, when Kirsten and I traveled to the WRO Nationals in Joburg this past Saturday, and when we were there, I remember we're reminding the teams, the RoboMation teams, to say, you know, anything can happen. The field might not be as smooth as what you're used to, but also the robot might not act or execute the code as you have planned or, you know, you're expecting to do it. So the key is stay calm, you know, stay calm and have fun. And as I was sharing that with them, I remember you, Ashley, and I don't remember the other guy's name, you guys, when the field wasn't as what you've expected, the look on your faces.
Yeah, there were 3 mats, and then for some reason the mat with the least amount of people was flat and clear. And then when we talked to the organizers, they would not fix the field whatsoever. And then what we did is while Ashley distracted them, we tested our robot on the 3rd mat. And then the robot worked fine. But when we went back to our mat, it wouldn't work. So So it could do with the lighting because the color sensors, it could be the mat, but it's so hard to tell. And then with the robots you get in Spike, the wheels are so, they don't have any traction on it.
You guys had the big wheels.
Yeah, we did because it would have better traction. And then there was also nothing it was another hurdle. You had to always wash the wheels. And then the mat is always a factor. People don't think the mat matters and it's all about the robot, but the conditions are so important when it comes to
Absolutely. Which I know WRO makes a disclaimer, you know, when they invite teams, they say, you know, just be aware, you know, the judges do the best they can to make sure everybody gets the more consistent or common fields, but they can't help it when, you know,
when something goes wrong.
Yes, absolutely. But I think that disclaimer is out there. Yeah, but you guys soldiered through. So on the last round, the robot worked.
That what we're talking about now is nationals, where it's nationals is a different story. Regionals, it worked flawlessly. Like the first 2 rounds, like we would get a few points. The robot would only go so far, like halfway or 1/3 of the way. And then in the last round, it did everything flawlessly, plus the special mission, which just boosted us up. And then that's how we got to 2nd place. And this was in the provincials and not regionals.
You came 2nd place in the provincials?
Yeah,
we did. Sure, that's pretty awesome. Now, what have robotics taught you? You know, that journey with designing of robots and testing, participating in competitions, the challenges, the thrills. What has that taught you about yourself?
About myself, it's I feel like through anybody, it shows through like all the challenges and whatnot. Shows that if the robot works, it shows you that you can progress through the problem. And then what it does before that point is the hard part, which is the grind, which is to keep going. And then I think what that taught me a lot about myself is that if I keep like trying, persevering, it will eventually work.
Yeah.
And then even when things look grim, like in like nationals, when the robot wasn't working, the whole team was looking like dreadful. But I constantly kept saying, I was also dreadful. We're all dreadful because
I remember the looks.
But I constantly just kept trying, and then and then eventually there was nothing we could do. But until that point, we kept trying our best. And then, yeah, it's that what it taught me about myself is that if you keep trying, something will eventually work. And then you keep trying until there's nothing you can do.
Absolutely. Just keep trying. Don't quit. And things get better. So essentially, if I'm hearing correctly, it helps you build resilience. Always trying to find a different way of solving the problem and not quitting on yourself, essentially.
Yeah, I would say.
Yeah. And what did it teach you about other people? Because you worked in a team.
It taught me a lot about like utilizing other people's skills. It taught me like I initially with Ashley, she did a lot of the coding, but then she wasn't there for like a majority of it. So we had two different files of code. And then what we did, like initially, like I was thinking about I'm the coder, I'm the builder, I have to do everything.
Yeah.
And then Ashley, when she pitched in, it made me trust other people a lot more. And then it would be about the placing, it would be about the coding that I would have to entrust with other people. And then the trust aspect I felt like was taught a lot. And then also the social part of it too, the aspect of it when we went to talk to other people, their designs. Yeah, it's a good talking point for interaction. So.
Absolutely, for social skills, right? And I can imagine how challenging it can be when you've put in so much work and now, designing the robot and you have to count on the coder that they are going to be able to match this magnificent robot design that you have built to be able to deliver and push you guys towards the nationals. A lot of teamwork involved.
A lot of teamwork. We would always discuss, and I always try to be up to date with what the code was doing. So yeah.
One thing that I really appreciated about you, Ken, that I don't forget, and I usually talk about when I talk about celebrating neurodiversity, is the leadership skills that you showed early on. When you were back at MMM Music Academy, working in a team, you would always find a way to give like tasks to other people who sometimes would be sitting on the side. You would always try and listen to their opinions when they don't agree about your design or your code, which I think is a very good skills to learn. And at that point, I realized Cam is actually a leader. So when you came and you wanted to run for leadership at your school, I was like, yeah, this is actually right up your alley. It's what you're made of. It's part of your strengths, leadership.
When I was doing that, I thought about myself in my shoes, that how I would be in their shoes. So I was very shy beforehand, and then I thought like these people want to speak, these people want to give their ideas, so I would let them give that like grounds to do so. So I would ask them for their opinions. I give them tasks to do because they would either not be doing anything or not saying anything, and I wanted them to do either of the all.
That's amazing. Example of a great leader. So Ken, you have been open about being ADHD, and for a lot of young people, this can seem like quite a struggle. But for you, it seems like you've been. It seems for you like it's been like a superpower for you.
Yeah, when it's I wouldn't say it's much of a superpower. It's more about who I am. Like when you think about somebody who has who's on the spectrum, I try not to think of it as a label. And then it's very common for somebody to say, "Oh, don't put that person on a label." But I feel like when somebody has like a neurodivergent problem, or like people would say, I don't see it as a problem. I see it more as an attribute. Like with me having ADHD, the moment like when I used to think I'm in like the moments I think like, oh, I have ADHD, that would be my excuse. That's when I'm not doing anything. But the moments I think I need to do this and then the ADHD would be there with me, that's when I would do stuff. And then I started to realize it's not so much about it being a superpower or a disability, which some people would say. I'd say it's more of an attribute of what you are. So if somebody has OCD, it's not like, I wouldn't say that's a problem. I just say that person's more focused. And I feel like that's a better way of looking at it than saying, oh, I have ADD, like OCD, I need to focus on all the little things. So I would rather say, instead of saying you have a problem, focus rather on what you can perfect in what you're doing. So with my ADHD, I like, especially in the leadership role that I took in Mphahlele for deputy, instead of thinking
Deputy Headboy.
Deputy Headboy, instead of thinking like, especially in the camp that we did, instead of thinking like I have ADHD, I need to focus, I thought, let me be expressive, make as much friends as I can. And then that suited me very well in the voting process when I was genuine and made as many friends as I can. And then they all thought I was a good leader and good enough role. So I won
Wow. Shit,
So,
just by being yourself.
yeah, so just by being yourself and then expressing who you are, instead of having like in the back of your mind, oh, I have this as a problem. Think of it more like add it onto who you are. Think of whatever whatever neurodivergent or where you're on the spectrum. Think of it as an attribute, and then if you struggle with it, address it. Because some people like who would have ADHD would be more expressive, more active, and work better with their hands. Therefore, a builder. But then some people who struggle with autism and then struggling to like express how they feel, I would say would do better in coding, maybe because they get to silently express. They can explain it their own way because that's all they're going to be focusing on. And then just doing stuff as where your problems would be an attribute is better than saying, oh, I have this, I struggle.
Wow, I love the way you're framing it.
Sorry if it's a bit confusing. I
No,
feel like
no,
I've been
it's
talking more
amazing.
than I've been explaining.
No. You're explaining so beautifully. I mean, you're explaining so beautifully because you're saying, let's look at it as part of who you are, an attribute, not a label.
Yeah, because if somebody says like, oh, that guy has ADHD, you're going to think this, and this. And then if you say, oh, that's the RCL leader, he's very
focused.
Very fun and outgoing, because I'll be focused a lot on making friends. And then that's how I would rather be perceived, rather than saying, oh, he has ADHD, he can't focus. Be the guy who says, hi, my name's Cameron. So then always using it as an attribute more than like a disability is, I think, the way you do better in what you do.
Yeah, interesting. So if I'm hearing you correctly, you're also saying if I've got autism or I'm autistic and I struggle in social settings maybe to make friends, rather than say, oh, I'm autistic, that's why I can't make friends, go and say, I'm Emma and I'm gonna go reach out, put efforts in making friends. That's what you're saying essentially.
Yeah, and then even with like the problems with that, like it's gonna be hard for a person with that to do so. I feel like they make an effort, and then like if people can tell, then they can tell, but that doesn't define who you are. Like you don't need to say you're autistic when you already have such good skills at so and then that you want to advertise. You want to say if you like, let's say you're good at coding and then you have like autism where you struggle making friends, put it out that you're good at coding. And then that's how I feel like people will be able to tell, but they won't classify you as the autistic person. They'll classify you as the person who knows how to code or something like that. Just
I hear you, but I'm curious whether it doesn't. Do you think it doesn't help if maybe your colleagues or your classmates know that Emma might do certain things or might behave a certain way in specific settings? Maybe because they're neurodivergent. Are you saying it doesn't help? Because then, in my view, if they know, they will be more supportive or more empathetic. If I behave a certain way, like I'm just thinking now, if there's so many people here and it's so loud and they're excited and they're so happy, and all of a sudden I take myself out and I go into the sensory cave, or I go outside and people are like, oh, where's Emma? She's so antisocial. But if they know that I'm autistic and sometimes, I've got sensory overload and I need to get away because it's just too much, then I've got more support and empathy.
It's a different challenge for everybody. With me, my ADHD was more on the focusing side, so I wouldn't have so much problem with social skills, but more on focusing. But I feel like with every single person, they need to address it the way that they're how it affects them. So if you struggle, like saying you can't handle sensory overload, you would then say you can't handle it, and then therefore people know. But like I try to think of it as a way not to hinder anything, and always try to think, how can it be better for everybody else? Like with ADHD, I would always think like, how can I be more creative and stuff like that. So that's what I always try to think. Try to make it so that with whatever you have, always try to be out there, and then if you have problems, you address it, but you try to do it so that it's always at the benefit of everybody.
Got you. Sure. What an insight from a young person. So essentially, not say I've got autism or I'm autistic, rather say I struggle with sensory overload, but I'm working on it, or something like that.
Yeah, and then
so it's not a label.
Yeah, and then it's hard to explain, because if somebody struggles with it a lot, then like address it, say like, I can't handle this and this and this. But also I'm trying to say, no, don't make a big deal of it, but make a big deal of it when it's necessary.
Okay.
Because the only way you're going to progress is when you're trying to progress as well. If it's ever like a backlog, like some people won't make an effort to change, that's when the problem starts.
Okay, I hear you. Because now you're transitioning into the work environment, but
Mm.
we'll talk about that and also about this awareness around neurodiversity and how it helps or not help somebody who's on the spectrum. Did robotics help you channel that extra energy, extra focus, as you're putting it?
I put a lot of focus into like small bits and details and code, and then a lot of my creative freedom was through my building. So like my ADHD would just be put all into the robots.
Do you think ADHD gave you an edge in problem solving and the way you thought generally?
I think it gave me an edge on different perspectives because, in one hand, I would think about every single way to follow a solution, like or to fix a problem, and then in other ways, I would only focus in that general area. Like it's both simultaneously narrow focused and then over focused. So ADHD, I wouldn't say would give you an edge. It would just make you hyper focused on one thing. Like you'll be hyper focused on this, and this to fix a problem when there's an easier solution on the other side. So it's like a double-edged sword. You have an ability to overdo something, which can be very positive, but then you could be missing a whole point.
Got you, got you. And that's why sometimes, because being hyper focused on something, some people would say, that's how experts are made, because you become an expert in one particular thing that you're hyper focused on generally.
Yeah, but yeah, that is true. It's just when we were working with robots, sometimes you would be hyper focused on the wrong thing, and the idea is to broaden it so that you can hyper focus on the right thing. Because
Okay.
like when we were building, at one point we were busy building a lift that would work like proper, but at the exact same time, it wasn't working properly, and then you're just putting a lot of energy into like a doomed project. So rather focus on something that you know what will work and something that you're thinking you can make it work.
Yeah. So in a setup like that, having team members counts a lot because they can help you refocus on the right thing, essentially. So yeah, thanks for helping us understand. I particularly find it interesting that you're explaining it could be a two-edged sword, right? Being hyper focused. Yeah. So what would you say to other teenagers out there who have never tried robotics and maybe they're hesitant or they don't even know robotics exists?
I think honestly, try it. If that's what my life experience has been so far, trying new things and seeing what you enjoy, and then try to see if you like it. And then if you don't like it, obviously don't pitch. But then if you do like it, just keep grafting, keep grinding, keep trying to get to a point in any place you're working within the Robo Mission, First Tech Challenge, wherever that is. Just keep grinding, keep going for keep trying to win.
Yeah.
And then that euphoric moment when you do win is worth all the effort you put in. And it's very difficult for teens to get into that. So like in my input, I would say try to give them small wins so they can keep chasing that. But I'd say try to find the joy in the robotics itself, the building, the coding, and then for teens, try it out, try a few lessons, see what it's like. If you don't like it, go away. If you love it, stay.
Stay. And we have some students, Cam, that don't want to do coding at all. And we're trying to say, okay, you're exceptional at building. Now let's transition to bring life to this robot through a code. What advice do you have for the coaches or maybe even for the students themselves to try and convince them and convince them to do coding? Should we even be trying to convince them, or should they work in a team where they focus on the building and somebody else does the coding?
It's extremely good to broaden your set of skills. Like instead of saying I only do building, you do this and this and this, and it's another aspect of robotics that if you don't like nurture it properly, you don't end up doing it at all. Like I feel the kids who struggles doing coding and then not the building, or vice versa, they're building and not the coding but not the building. Give them small wins so that when they do it and then they succeed, they then feel proud of themselves. And then this can be low hanging fruit. So let's say for a day during like building for a challenge, they say, okay, everybody, we're going to do swap up for today's lesson. And then the coders just have to do like a small amount of work. If they do any work at all, just a small amount, and then they do well, like if they, oh, you got third place, then they'll think, if I put a little bit more effort, maybe I can get a higher mark. or just like a goal that they need to succeed, because competition might, like if you have a team that's good with coding and building, they might be discouraged when they lose. But if you have a goal saying you just need to get here, and then you give them like a sweet or
like a manageable goal.
Like, and then if they and the people who are builders then manage to code it to go that far, they think, wow, I managed to get that, and now we're doing well. Why did I manage to do this? And then you keep setting new goals, like 1 suite, 2 suites, 3 suites, but then it gets hard as it goes on. And then before they know it, they're already doing stuff that they didn't think they could do before.
That's amazing.
Yeah, like I just encourage them to do it by rewards. And then the moment they start doing something small, that's when it starts snowballing, and then it becomes bigger as it goes along.
Absolutely, sure. This is amazing what you're saying. And maybe added to that is during the WRO preparation, we noticed some of our students who are on neurodivergent, I don't know, we find that some of them forget, like we'll teach them a code, but then, you know, when they now have to apply the same coding principles, they forgot. What do you think of that?
I would usually make blocks with code that would redo it, and then I can give advice and I can give my opinion.
Yeah, your opinion matters.
Like I would say, when they forget principles, that's a little bit either on the side that it's hard to explain.
They never stick in the first place.
When they forget the principles, it should be what they learned initially. So when they're in that position, they should know it. And if they don't, they should have like what we did is that if we ever forgot something, we would have code explaining it. Like we would write this code does this, and then we write comments on what this does. So if they do that and then keep like reminding themselves, keep putting notes down, it helps them understand it in future. Because like in the fundamentals you need to know, but if there's principles in like certain parts of your code, what it needs to do, putting a note down makes it, that's all you need to do. Just put a little note and you'll get reminded.
Okay, that's a good one. So Cam, this is very exciting and something I've been dying to talk about. And it's a plot twist, right? You've gone from robots to diving, literally. That's like a wild switch up. What pulled you to the ocean?
What pulled me to the ocean was so I took a gap year because I didn't know what I wanted to do. I wanted to do engineering, but I also wanted to pursue art and an animation career. I also wanted to talk to people in sales, and there's just so many different things going on. I did a bunch of job shadowing, see what I wanted to do, and then eventually I was going to have to pick something. And then I thought, as a last-ditch effort, why don't I do what I loved a while back, which was this dive course, where one of the instructors told us that they were doing it for like a year, and then they get the full experience and they get a job and they can work in the Bahamas. And I was like, no, let me get a taste of that just to see what it's like. So I went to Swan Bay for a month, and while I was there, it was the most genuinely it's a new experience. I loved it, and then I've now fallen in love with it. That's why I want to pursue it. I'm now a rescue diver, and the reason why I'm carrying on and going into this is because I just love the ocean. That's all I can say. Like compared to other stuff, where with computers I'll be sitting down the whole day, or with art I'll be expressing myself the whole day. I love doing both of those things. Where I would be like in future I'd be planning dives. I'll be working with dive computers, or which would be little watches on the wrist, and then the expressiveness of just being able to explain the ocean reef, doing it in your own way. Like I can tell you 3 different shark facts right now.
What? So are you saying we'll be watching your shows on National Geographic?
I mean, if you guys, if I get a television show, but yeah, I switched over because I love the ocean, and then I love diving. I love what you do every day, and I love the lifestyle. You wake up, you get in your friend's car, you rush to work because you're already like almost 5 minutes late. You get there just in time, and you start working. Get to the ocean, go with your friends, play music on the boat. It's a new experience, and I love it. And that's why I want to carry on doing it.
And it's like fun. You like your office is outside.
Yeah, it's the living conditions I wouldn't say are the best, because you live in like a 2-meter cabin.
Okay.
And then the kitchen is shared by everybody, and people don't know how to wash their plates.
Yeah. But people don't know how to wash their plates.
They don't.
Their mama didn't teach them.
And then it's just the just the ocean. I love the ocean. I love the people there. I love going out every day. I love not being able to go home and just watching Netflix. I love being able to go home and then my friends saying, let's go out. And then you have to watch them like drink, and then you sucky with your friends. And
yeah, sure. It sounds like a very fun relaxed, easygoing, but very adventurous.
Very
vibe.
adventurous, yeah.
Yeah. So I'm wondering actually, how is robotics similar to diving? I'm thinking discovery, precision.
There actually is, like compared to the feelings, I can actually notice. Like obviously, if you look at a face value, it's not gonna make sense. But now, how I explain it now, I feel like some of you guys will understand. Is when you go up, you get build. When you go down, you get nitrogen in your blood, in your body, and then as you go up, the nitrogen needs to be released. So the precision that you need to go up at a certain rate and then stay at a certain position for this long, go up, and then when you go deeper, there's a bunch of different technical things you need to do so that the nitrogen doesn't um, come out. And you'll get the bends, which is DCI, decompression sickness. Hope I'm getting that right, but
so there's a chemistry, there's
yeah.
a biological chemistry that you have to manage as you dive, essentially.
Yeah, and like a robot, you need to do it precisely, or else you'll get the bends. And like the precision where a robot needs to be like a degree correct or 5 centimeters to the left, you need to be like that with your buddy. You need to be on them. You need to be next to them, holding onto their gear. Because when you're in a position where I am, like a rescue diver, that's what you need to be doing. So the precision, I would say, is very similar. With a robot, you need to be precise with your code. With the diver, you need to be precise with your clients. You need to be precise where you're going. You need the navigational skills. You need to look at the waves, the dunes are moving, the sun position, all to figure out where you are. So like a robot, when you're trying to figure out the lights and this and that, I'm trying to figure out the direction we're going, the surge, the visibility, all of that. So I find a lot of this like
the similarities, essentially. And what I think what you talked about earlier is the sense of adventure, because there's a lot to discover in the ocean, right? Which is what robotics is about, discovery, discovering different things.
With robotics, it's a lot about, with this discovery aspect would be different designs. But you're always trying to achieve a goal. With diving, there's a lot more leeway. Like I have to be honest, because with robotics, if you're going to career with that, you need to be precise. But with diving, you only need to be precise when you're going up and then making sure that the clients are safe. Other than that, it's the greatest experience you'll ever experience. Seeing an octopus right in front of you change to a different shade of blue that you don't see naturally is a completely different kind of experience.
So I quit here. I want to become a diver. It sounds so fun. It sounds really fun.
It's a lot of work and then very tedious with like the physical aspect of it. Like you need to, I'd say the hardest part was they would make us wear weights that would make us neutrally buoyant. So that means staying in the water in your position. So if you're 5 meters deep, neutrally buoyant would say you would be 5 meters deep at all times, not going up or down. And then they would put that weight. I would wear, I think, 4 kgs in a pool, and I had to stay afloat with my head above for, I think, 10 minutes, and then, or 30 minutes, and then for 2 minutes, you couldn't use your arms. You just had to tread the water. So that was difficult.
Wow! But in the true nature of Cameron, you don't give up. You're very resilient. You stick it through.
It was so difficult, and then they were lenient with the other people, and then I only like started doing what they were doing. But I tried to do it as proper as I could, and as much as it is physically taxing, you could do it. Anybody could do it. It's a fun sport, and it's recreational. Where it gets difficult is when you want to go deeper into it, like tech diving, commercial diving. But for now, like what I want to do is recreational diving, which is just being a master diver and then leading dives. So yeah.
But would you get paid as a recreational diver?
Yeah, you would. In Sedona Bay, you don't get paid depending on what kind of position you're in. Like if you're working as an intern or staff, like as an intern, you don't get paid anything. As staff, you don't get paid that much. But with the certification as a dive master, you then start making money. And then when you go overseas, the currency conversion with accommodation being paid for and the kitchen, you have very few expenses. So as long as you see diving as you're going out and you're going back home and chilling, the money you make is actually quite profitable.
Absolutely, because all the expenses are essentially covered.
Yeah, and then like I even had a friend who was an instructor who, he was very, he lives in a cabin, but he's well off. Like he would take us sometimes out for dinner. We would go out. So yeah,
so you can actually make a living out of it.
Yeah, it just depends on where you're doing it. Like if you're doing it in Sedona Bay and South Africa, the currency's not that strong, so there's nothing really to do. But if you do it in like the Bahamas or the Maldives, they're going to be paying a lot for a good diver. So that's where the money is.
Yeah. So essentially, you can share this with us, because I'm curious if there are other young people that are interested in diving. What do they need to do? What must they have?
What they must do and what must they have. You don't need anything. You just need a certification. You can get that at any local dive center. What they'll do is they'll put you through PADI, RAID, different agencies. I think there's about maybe 5, 6. I might
In
be
South
wrong.
Africa.
In the world.
Oh,
So the one
it's quite niche.
Yeah. So what I did was I was first a PADI diver, so I'm in open water. I was in open water where I could go down 18 meters. And then that's like what most people do. They just do it for the recreational, so they'll go down that deep. Then I just went further, so I would go down 20 meters, which is 2 meters more, and then 30 meters. So what you need is just, unfortunately, just the money to do it.
And the good lungs, because you need to be able to hold the breath under there.
Well, actually, you don't want to hold your breath. If you go up while oxygen's still in your lungs, or air, it will expand because when gas goes down, it gets compressed by the pressure of the ocean, and when it goes up, it then expands. So if you have oxygen in your lungs as you go up, something bad will happen to your lungs. But the practice of I think it was called there was a rate of which you breathe per minute. So mine started off at 18, which is bad. Then I managed to get it to 4. It's a SAC rate. So it's the rate at which you use your oxygen. So I would have a cylinder on my back and then start breathing. And from 18, I got my SAC rate down to 14, which is all right. And yeah, you would just need to practice that for breathing.
Okay.
It doesn't take much to get into diving. I love it. I would recommend it to everybody. It's just the money aspect that costs a lot.
It costs quite a bit, but it's something worth looking into as a career, essentially.
Yeah, with a career-wise, it's it depends if you love the ocean. If you don't love the ocean, don't go for it. But I love the ocean. I love the culture of being with your friends all the time. I love the lifestyle. And that's why I'm going into it. I don't care much about the money or anything about that. I just miss my friends back in Sodwana Bay, and then waking up 5 minutes before I'm supposed to get to work, and then rushing to work.
5 minutes before you're supposed to get to...
I mean, it's not that far.
In the office, you can't do that. Waking up 5 minutes before.
Sodwana Bay is a coastal town. So the nearest town was 15 kilometers. So everybody there was close together. Like, you would say hi to everyone. They would give you rides back from the beach.
Oh, such a nice community.
You're part of a community there, and then you say hi to everyone. And there's so few dilemmas. Like, you would have... politics don't even I don't think anybody cares about the politics in the world when you're busy catching fish with your friends.
Busy watching an octopus under the water.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. So, Kev, what's the craziest thing you've seen under the water so far?
Craziest thing I would say would be an octopus, but if I'm being honest, when we were coming back from one of our dives, we were traveling back from Anton's, which is a shark tooth diving spot. And then while we were back, we saw this huge manta at the top of the water. And then
what is a manta?
A manta ray. It's this huge, majestic ray.
Okay.
And everybody wants to see it. When you see it, it's majestic. And then we saw it at the top, and it was waving. And I was like, "Whoa, that's so cool!" And I look back, and I see my instructor, and then he falls backwards into the ocean. And then somebody says, "What are you waiting for?" And
is it dangerous?
No. Well, the skipper stopped. And then they did that.
Okay.
I thought we were just gonna look at it. They dived into it, and then I put my fins on. I got my mask in.
You followed,
and then I follow in, and then I'm looking around. I'm seeing, guys, where is it? Where is it? Because I'm thinking it's already gone because they're quite fast. And then somebody says to my left, no, to my right, I think I went that way, and I look behind me. I look underneath the water, and I see this majestic, huge manta slowly going out in this greenish, bluish hued water, and then as it goes out, it fades out invisibility, into non-visibility, because in water you have visibility, and then the visibility was bad that day, so it just fades out into this blue,
like mystical creature.
It was like an experience you can't explain. And then for me, that was the most majestic part. And then a quick one that I'll give. The other one was the owner of our business would put the song AC/DC's Thunderstruck, and then on my first dive there was a pod of dolphins riding next to us while we were on top of a wave on a boat.
Wow.
That I would say is second place to that.
That's awesome. That's super awesome. Where in the world did you wake up and you're just, finding your way next to dolphins? Literally. Yeah. That sounds like a very cool life. Okay. What's all this taught you about curiosity and discovery in general?
Diving, I can't explain it. when we have a reef guide,
Uh-huh.
and what it does is shows you the different types of fish. So angelfish, butterfly fish, triggerfish, unicorn fish, and then seeing all these in person and studying them and seeing how they eat, how they interact, how the patterns on the skin is supposed to make predators think that they're going that way when their eyes are on the other end of their body and they're going that way. So seeing that in the dive manual, in the reef guide, and seeing it in play is so. It makes you want to learn more. Like it makes me want to learn what that fish is. It makes me want to learn about how that dorsal fin affects how they swim. It makes me want to learn so much more about marine biology.
Sure. I can, as you're speaking, Kim, I'm thinking of, I love watching National Geographic. It's something that when I get home and I'm tired, that's how I de-stress, essentially. Just watching the science behind all these creatures, either on land or under the water. I find it really fascinating. And I can only imagine you looking at it on the book or in the book and then going to see it live. Like, the whole experience it's a class of its own.
Yeah, it's like seeing it actually happen, like seeing an octopus for me, like on National Geographic, like it changes color, like oh cool, but seeing it actually change color, see it blend in with a coral, see that there was a bigger fish coming and then it hit down, seeing it in person is an experience you cannot replicate, and then that's the love for it for me, seeing like actual animals being what they are
in their natural habitat.
Yeah, and that's what I love about it. I can't explain it.
Sure, I get you. So what do you think schools can do to support neurodivergent minds like yours?
Honestly, I just say patience. If the person is willing to put the work in and they're on the spectrum, they will flourish. They will bloom. They just need patience and then encouragement. That's the best way you can do it, because I'm not going to treat somebody who has like autism differently. I'm going to treat them the same as I would with a normal person. And then patience and then stuff happening at home is big factors for them. So like I would have a friend who used to struggle quite a bit, and I loved him. He's one of my best friends.
Yeah.
And then with him, it was it's patience, being supportive.
Yeah.
And just being there for them is the best you can do, and then treating them like a human, because I'm not going to treat this person who's down in the dumps as somebody who's down in the dumps. He's my friend. I love them. I'm going to give them all the support and conditioning they need, and then being a friend. That's what I say is the best way you can support neurodivergent people, being understanding and being there for them.
And as you're speaking, Kim, what we know generally and what we've experienced with my colleagues is that neurodivergent people, we've found them to be the most empathetic people you can find. And you saying, just be a friend, be there, be patient, it literally attests to what we, the claim, or at least the observations that we have seen.
I just, like I have a couple friends who are on the spectrum, and I see them as friends, and I don't ever see them as ever less. Like, who was the boy here who was autistic?
Christian. You remember Christian? Yeah,
like,
Christian.
I never treated him less. When I first saw him, I treated him as an equal. And then I noticed he was shy. And then eventually he told me he was autistic. And then I didn't change how I thought of him. I just thought like he struggles a bit more, but that doesn't change who he is. He was kind, shy. And then he looks happy whenever I see him. And then that's how I'll treat him. I'll treat him as the guy who I know is happy. And then that's what I think schools should do. Instead of like giving this person a pass to do whatever they want, support them through what they're going through. Don't give them a way out, give them a way through.
Oh, that's amazing, Kim. That's very loaded. And thanks for reminding me about Christian, because Christian made it to the nationals twice, and the second one with you, right?
Oh yes, I remember that. Yeah,
the first time he took a flight for the first time.
Oh yes,
in his life ever.
I was 23.
Yeah, that was the first time, and the next time it was with you. And
I remember that. That. I love Christian.
Yes, I just remember how kindly you worked together with him when he needed to kind of self-regulate and walk around. You guys were very kind.
And I always try to help him whenever it came need be. So yeah.
So just be kind. Be kind, please. We need more kindness. But I was curious, do you think the school system, because what we find with our neurodivergent students, they literally have ideas, they're brilliant. Sometimes school is not stimulating them to the right level that they can stay engaged. And we had somebody who actually, I don't remember when, who told the teacher, I met somebody for dinner, and she told me she once told the teacher And she's got ADHD. She once told the teacher, no, this is boring here. Like the class was boring because the content that was being covered in her view was kind of very boring. It was not mentally stimulating. So that's why I'm asking, do you think the schools are doing enough, or are there things they can do to ensure that they support minds like yours, brilliant minds like yours?
I personally think, like, I have the exact same view as the girl. It's sometimes boring, and that's what the hard part about people who are on the spectrum. They just need to tough it out. But for schools, I don't believe they're doing enough. Like with the common use of ChatGPT being used, and then the school's making a problem, then that's not the problem that the AI and the kids are using. It's a problem that the questions are being able to be answered by AI. Like,
wow, interesting. What do you mean? The questions are easy enough that the AI can understand?
yeah, like if you're gonna, like, an essay, obviously the person needs to be creative, but if you're asking a question that can be answered through AI, then that's not a question enough. And then obviously the AI can answer everything, but asking a question that's genuinely innovative is better than asking a question that comes from a textbook. And then combine the two, ask like what would be done and reference the textbook. So, and then also in the aspect where they're not doing enough, like they're boring, like they're gonna have to tough it out. But at the exact same time, you need to find subjects that you can put an out into, like design. We used to draw on Fridays. We used to do stuff, and then the teacher. But we had a teacher that came in, and then I'd say she did an incredible job. What she did is that she put everybody into 3 groups, and then we made sculptures from cardboard. And then at the group that I was in, I was elected leader because of my role. But
Yeah.
I loved that week so much. We were all together because it was just us working together and putting our ideas into reality. Because we all had to draw something we didn't know what it was for, and then we have to make it. So having that like turn around completely, and then you like
something unexpected.
Exactly, like doing something that you don't expect, something that you don't completely understand, and then trying your best to succeed at it is the best way you're gonna learn. Like I learned so much about teamwork that day. I learned that we can call it my friend that we nicknamed him Fishy. He was very precise, and then Casey was very like architecturally sound. She made it work together, and then for me, I was the guy who put it all together and then made it look like how it's supposed to look.
So more hands-on learning
Exactly
is important,
and then it depends on each person. Like with me, I love working with my hands more than I would like writing down a piece of paper. So like creative writing, art and design, like I love doing that. But a person who would say like is more shy, they would be more like interested in writing and then doing stuff that they don't expect. Pop quizzes is not what I'm talking about, but I'm talking about projects that make you want to do what you want to do.
Interesting. So there's still a lot of gap in education, essentially, to be able to meet our students halfway, as far as that's concerned. What are some of your last words that you want to say to young people that are either going through school or finishing school and exploring careers or in the work environment? What do you want to say to them?
You guys are going to hear this a lot, and you're not going to hear it from me, you're going to hear it from everybody. But when they say chase what you love, genuinely do that. I love diving. I did it once. I tried it again. I fell in love. If you love something, keep going at it. Keep trying it. If it works, it works. Make it a career. And I kid you not, you will. I love diving. If you love what you do, you don't have to work again. And it's commonly said, but I feel like that's an actual thing. You don't have to work again. You just need to do what you love. And if what you love is helping people, you become a doctor. If you love building, become an engineer. If you love the ocean, become a diver. So do what you love, enjoy it, and try everything. Really try everything. Do things that you don't think you would try. Do stuff that you think is stupid. Do stuff that you think you'll never try again. I signed up for RCL auditions because I thought, let me try it one time before I leave school. And then I managed to make the entire grade like go in unison for my speech. I made them all I managed to make everybody interact, and that's a very hard thing to do. Do stuff that you don't think you can do, and try your best at it. Like try everything, do everything, love everything, do the thing that you love most, and then enjoy your life.
Yeah, so essentially live beyond the box. That's what you're saying.
Live beyond the box.
Live beyond the box. Okay, Cameron's journey proves that curiosity can take you anywhere, from coding robots in Cape Town to swimming alongside sea life in Sodwana Bay. Whether it's robotics or diving, it's about courage, creativity, and seeing the world differently. Yeah. Thanks for hanging out with us, Cameron. It was such a joy having you here. And for you at home watching, please remember to like, to share, and to follow us. This is it from Beyond the Box. Until next time, goodbye.